this is the end game here. This is what the hat will look like in the end. It's for juggling tricks. And to do so, we will need to make one of these. This is the hat block. And just need some hats. These are some random crappy thrift store hats. As you can see, fedoras will work. These are nice and kind of bowler shaped already. That's good. But any kind of felt, 100% wool felt will work. And then also we need a can of this stuff. Great stuff. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is make your hat block. This one I made with a straw hat that I didn't really care about, and I just sprayed the foam stuff directly into the hat and pulled it out. Today I'm going to try to make them out of felt hats. Hats that I could potentially use to make other hats with, but I'm going to try a couple experiments to see if it works. Experiment number one will be parchment paper. I made a little parchment paper frame. Try kind of a unique pork pie kind of hat there. And this one, I am going to coat the inside of it with typical regular old spray cooking oil. Okay, and now it's time for the kind of nasty part. I have this is nasty too actually. I sprayed this with cooking oil. Nasty. And I have the parchment paper all ready to go here. Now we introduce our great stuff, our insulating foam. This stuff is really, really nasty. You don't want to get it on anything or you'll never ever get it off again. It's so nasty, in fact, I should probably be wearing protective eye gear and gloves. But I'm not, so hopefully all will go well. You're gonna have to let them sit and dry for a while. You should probably let it take at least a day. And when it dries, sometimes it'll dry on the outside first, and on the inside it'll still be soft. So it really takes a long time for the air to fully penetrate and fully dry the foam. Okay, so while you're waiting for those molds to dry, you can go ahead and prep the hats that you're going to be using on the mold. These hats I got at my local thrift store, and they have all these extra little accoutrements on them. And basically I want to pull all that stuff off. It's possible you want to leave something like that on there. Maybe you want a little decoration on your hat. I don't know. Go for it. But I usually strip them completely. Sometimes it's just glued on, sometimes it's sewed on. And you want to get it down basically to just the raw felt material. They frequently have stitches around the brim, and they also have stitches around where the hat band will go. They frequently have hat bands on the inside too. Sometimes it's okay to leave it in there. If the hat's the right size and you want a hat brim in there already, you might be able to get away with it. But I usually like to strip it down and then sew all that stuff on after. Okay, some doing has been done. We have the new hat blocks. This one, as you can see, worked out. It's not the most awesome shape, but you can sand these down to get kind of any shape that you want. Be careful because there will still be some goo on the inside still. But all things considered, it turned out pretty good. And this hat, the parchment paper, is totally fine and completely still usable. The one that took some doing, I left the hat band on. I didn't follow my own advice, which made it a little tough to get off. And as you can see, some of the felt was left behind. The cooking oil didn't quite work. But all in all, I would say that it worked because I do have a hat block that I can use here. And this has got some stuff in it, but I think I still may be able to salvage this hat as well, which is cool. Alright, onward. Okay, so after you have your felt pieces selected, my chosen method is just to take some boiling water, pour it into the hat like so. Just take this other one and soak it in there. Just keep pouring the hot water in. You want it to be totally soaked through and through. Kind of switch this all around. Careful not to burn yourself. And then we're going to take it and we're going to stretch it over the form. So the hats I've chosen, this one I left the thread in because I think it looks nice. This is the one I want on the inside. So I'm just gonna pull it over here. This one already fits pretty good, and the shape is already pretty good, which is nice. I'm just gonna pull it down as tight as I can. Really stretch it out. And since we're making juggling hats, we want them to be a little heavier than normal, so I'm going to put a second layer on. And then you want to pull that layer down tight as well, until it's nice and snug. But then yeah, after you've soaked it and stretched it, I just kind of smooth it down. Like so. Still kind of steaming. Nice and hot. And now I'm going to tie this area down just to hold it in place. So here you can see I just wrapped some yarn around it, pulled it pretty tight. And at this point you can just keep working over it with your hands. That's the hands-on approach that I like. You can also iron it and use a heat gun as well, just to add some extra heat. And over the course of several hours, just every once in a while, just make sure it's nice and tight. Just keep pulling it down, snugging it down. The more you do, the more you'll have to work with the brim after the fact. We're getting down to the end of the project now. This has sat overnight. I have curled the brim up in the nighttime. It's looking pretty good, so now I'm just going to pull it off of the hat form. And now the only thing that's really left is the sewing of the brim and the band. I usually like to sew a stitch through the band to connect the two hats there and keep that shape. You can also sew a band on. You can leave the yarn on if you like that, or get different kinds of ribbon. And then for the edge, you can either fold one piece over the other, or sew an additional ribbon on top of that. So that either looks like where I have just folded the bottom layer of the hat over the top layer and sewed it together for the brim. And this is the hat band that I sewed onto this one. It looks like it's a regular hat band from a regular hat. On this one I did the same thing, except I folded the top one down instead of folding the top one up and sewed them together. It's the same band. And then this is what it looks like when it has a ribbon. I just sewed the ribbon. And this is the method I would recommend if you do try 3 hats as well. Okay, that concludes the tutorial. If you have any questions, please let me know. Once again, this is a free time to experiment, to come up with a hat that's unique and that's all your own, and that's pretty great about it. They're frequently a little lighter than the Nils Pol juggling hats. That's okay too. It doesn't mean you can't still do tricks with it. I do tricks with mine. I like them better lighter now, but that's probably just because I've done it more. Anyway, thanks for paying attention if you're still watching, and have a great day.